Greetings, denizens of YouTube. Welcome to the shop and welcome to my 2003-ish PT Cruiser GT turbo manual hatchback thing. Today I'm going to take a look under this thing for the first time and see what all is wrong with it. The issues that I noticed were vibrations at idle, no boost, no power, hard starting, and some nasty clunking and vagueness in the steering that I think is the tie rod ends. So I've go ahead and jacked up a corner of it, got it on jack stand, and put down some cardboard so we can get under the car and see what's what. So in the last video, we had a brief look around the engine bay here, and it took note of the MSD coil, throttle body spacer, and air intake. Everything else looks fairly stock up here. This motor mount is original. No, that is in perfect condition. Looks like a factory part, maybe original, not sure, 120,000 miles. There are inserts you can get for these that really help with their ability to handle the power of these turbo engines. So I might look into getting those. I think it's $80. Back there, we've got the turbo, which is very recently replaced. You can see that back there, if it'll focus. There we go, nice new shiny turbo. I'm assuming it's factory. All these plastic vacuum / boost lines all seem to be in really good shape. Battery, whatever. Got some add-on lines here. Those have to do with the alarm system. It's got these little meat horns up here, which are actually hilarious, and I kind of love them. Valve cover gasket, shockingly not leaking. ECU exists. I feel like there should be a cover over that port. That would be to control the automatic transmission. You can get tuned ECUs for these that actually use this plug. I think they'll have like a sub harness that uses those inputs and outputs that normally go to the automatic transmission to do all sorts of weird, you know, boost by gear sort of things and meth injection or what have you. I believe that's an SRT4 thing that those guys do. Mount over here also looks excellent, like it might have been replaced recently. This vehicle is equipped with MSD blaster coils. Cool, thank you. Moving on around the car, this bumper is really beat up. I'm actually not sure what body kit this bumper is. I don't know if it's xenon like these side skirts or not. Something I did notice, it's not actually a bumper. It's a cover over the factory bumper. Like, it's not its own thing. It's just freaking, it's just zipped into the stock bumper. What an absolute hack. So that's fun. All these shocks are definitely blown, though I don't see any fluid leaking. Those shocks are pretty shot. We've got some very jaunty drilled and slotted brake rotors. What do we got going on? Oh yeah, that's boned. That's all the outer. Okay, outer tie rod, easy enough. We'll see if I can show it here. Yep. Well, that's an easy fix. Might actually be able to do that tonight. I assume the other side is just as bad, but that's what we call dynamically... Stop that. That's what we call dynamically adjusting toe. It's a performance thing, I promise. Got a bit of wetness here. It looks like output seal for the CV axle. Maybe? If so, it's a very small leak. Oh, lots of oil here at the front. Let's see here. Lots of oil coming from these cooler lines from the turbo. Those should have been replaced with the turbo, really, especially after this many miles. Those things just heat cycling. I bet they did not like being unhooked and moved around. Yeah, they're leaking where they come out of the turbo too. So that's my oil leak. Let's see, where's my boost pipes? The motor mount over here, what's that look like? Perfect. Okay, maybe my vibrations are just the engine not running right from wherever this boost leak is. This pipe, this charge pipe's also clamped down well. Okay. Oh, look at that. Well, I found our boost leak. Now, I'm no expert. I just pretend to be. But I feel like turbo cars should definitely have a hose clamp on them. It doesn't look like the hose clamp slipped off or anything. It just wasn't installed in the first place. So that reflects real good on the shop that did the work on this car. It is completely rust-free under here. Oh my God. Yeah, hang on. This car has not once seen a state with salt. Look at the underside of that. It's fantastic. And yet again, I have yet another car with a twist beam rear axle. This one has a nifty Watts linkage back here. What else do we got going on back here? Stock springs and suspension, of course. It's literally just straight piped. Oh, oh, oh my. God damn it. That is the most boomer shit I've ever seen in my life. I wonder why the pipe over here was so clean. This thing's literally straight piped with a fake exhaust tip. That takes the cake. Oh my God. Oh, hey, look, there's an actual spare under here. It's slung under there like a truck. I can't get over that, though. That's amazing. This thing's really everything you want it to be, isn't it? I'm doing things in a weird order here because when the heater is on, I'm doing stuff I don't have to talk during. I went ahead and scanned the car to see what codes we got, and I'm pretty shocked. There was only one code, a P0171 system tooling bank 1, which is a decent indicator of a vacuum leak because it's pulling in unmetered air past the mass airflow sensor, which thinks you're getting less air than you actually are, so it's not injecting enough fuel. So if we fix this, that should be the car good to go as far as the engine's concerned. So I bought some hose clamps. I'm going to throw those on there and I'll show that. And then right now I'm trying to get this tie rod end off. I went and got a couple from O'Reilly's. It's about $60 for all this, I think. Some, you know, same sort of worm drive hose clamps that's on the whole rest of the charge pipe system. I'm not too concerned about this because you really don't want to use these when you're going onto like a plastic nipple, like on the plastic in-tank of a radiator, because you have to be really, really careful about torque. That's why the constant tension clamps are so nice. I don't think I have any sitting around right now, but the constant tension clamps there's a spec, and they are that spec of tension that's not going to risk crushing or otherwise fatiguing the plastic on your in-tank. But since this is just going onto an aluminum charge pipe with a rubber hose, I'm totally fine with using these and just cranking down on them. It's going to be fine. And I've got some Master Pro, whatchamacallem, ball joint, no, tie rod ends. It's late, I'm tired. Let's get this done. Thankfully, I was very lucky, and this key for the lug nuts for the Nissan Maxima's wheels fit these little steel lug nuts. I'm actually okay with these because they're steel. Aluminum lug nuts are incredibly sketchy, but these steel ones are all right, though they do rust and look a little bit unsightly, which is why people prefer the aluminum. But hey, if you've got these quality Forte wheels, you really want to protect them. And I have to say, there's no curb rash on any of these. I am stunned. Probably the best thing I've seen so far. Also, brakes, perfect. There's no ridge on that whatsoever and a ton of pad left. I don't get, this thing rides super bouncy. I'm guessing that these shocks are totally shot shock. Yeah, look at that, it's the end of the transmission. So, what sort of condition is that bushing in? It doesn't look good. Oof. Yeah, damn it. Needs lower control arms. Those don't look too bad to do. A lot easier than my Lexus I had. Oh, look at that. Gross little nasty spacer whatnots. Wonder if that's for clearance on the brakes. Can't imagine they're super worried about their dank fitment, yo. Boost tube is back on, and one side of the tie rods is done, so that feels quite a bit better. Other side's definitely going to need doing, but what I'm curious about is how well does it start now? Oh, way better. And it idles fairly smooth too. It's not perfect though. It is slow to rev. No chicken. Oh. That is barely idling. There's still something going on here. Oh yeah, we're only running on like 3 cylinders. It definitely doesn't sound like it has as huge of a boost leak anymore, but there's still something going on, so I think it's time to get the smoke machine out. Well, that's the second of the 2 tie rods done in record time. I've got a 10 o'clock appointment tomorrow to get this thing aligned. Well, to align it myself actually, because the new tie rod ends were not even remotely the same length as the old ones. So yeah, I kind of guesstimated. Now it's the return of one of my favorite diagnostic tools, the smoke generator. I believe this is the brake booster vacuum, so that line shouldn't be going to anything. Let's just go ahead and power on this boy. Make sure it's actually generating the smoke. And this will tell us where we have exhaust leaks, and it'll also make my shop smell like absolute trash. All right. Oh, yeah, I guess whatever that is actually does loop back into the system. Large amounts of smoke coming from whatever's at the bottom of this. Oh, nothing. What are you supposed to go to? Well, okay. Well, that RTV. This reeks of something else the shop screwed up. I see a T down there. There is all kinds of RTV all over all of that stuff. Looks like this intake pipe's gonna have to come out. Fortunately, that's pretty easy. Just that one hose clamp down there, so let's get this thing off. The amount of shenanigans, and it's midnight, so I can't get any parts, but there's this crazy vacuum tee thing down there that looks like all the wrong parts to the base of whatever in the heck this thing is. The vacuum system on this car is kind of a mess in general. Like there's T's everywhere instead of just having a nice manifold or something. It was all silicone together. I redid it with some hose clamps. Should be a little more solid. Of course, this PCV hose, it's just on there with like just pressure from this. Actually, I wonder, I'm out of hose clamps. I think I have a fuel injector hose clamp somewhere in my box of parts here, bag of parts. Yeah, I think that's gonna be too small. Yeah, it might work. I mean, look at this. It's the right size for this. Way too small for the fitting on the valve cover itself. So I'm gonna put this on there, I suppose, if I can find an angle for it. And I think that's the last of the potential intake vacuum leaks, I guess. I don't even know, like, what's pre and post MAF on this? Where the heck is the MAF sensor on this car? Does it even have one? There we go. I'm sure that one doesn't matter a whole lot, but it's nice to know that my positive crankcase ventilation system will continue to positively crankcase ventilate. Still kind of lumpy. Yep, still stumbling. When I was driving it before, it just would not want to rev past 3 grand. Well, this morning I went to the parts store and got a new cam angle sensor because the forums and internet were saying that that was very likely the issue. You're supposed to only get genuine Mopar ones, but I did a parts store one just to see if it would help. They tend to fail pretty quickly, but I figured, you know, that would tell me if it's worth spending the money. Made no difference. I did go get this thing aligned, so now it drives straight at least, which is nice, but it still runs like absolute garbage, and it's setting lean condition codes. And I started wondering if I was chasing the wrong symptoms. I thought the lean condition thing was because of a vacuum leak. It turns out these don't have a mass airflow sensor. These are all speed density. I thought it was just because that charge pipe was blown off. It might just, this might be a fuel issue. So let's chase a fuel issue. Unfortunately, I can't really take any parts out and look at them because everything is in the fuel tank. The filter, the regulator, the sender, the pump, all of it in the fuel tank, which you have to drop out the bottom of the car. Thank you, Chrysler. So what I did, because honestly I need one anyway, is I went to Harbor Freight and spent even more money on blow mold plastic and got a fuel pressure testing kit because this does have a fuel pressure testing port, which is very handy. Unfortunately, the location is absolute garbage. Coming in here on the left, we have our fuel line wrapped in this very pretty sheath. It goes down in there to the fuel rail, which is underneath that coolant line, goes over here, and then the test port is under there somewhere. I think the best way to get at it is to remove the battery and get my hand up in here, because I can't really fit my fingies through here, and I'd rather not take off this whole charge pipe. I'd really rather not take off this coolant hose. Ah, there it is, right there. So I've got to try and get my tester on that. Well, I was a lot less married to the concept of keeping the charge pipe hooked up than I expect. Unhook that, pull this off, pull it back, and it's pretty much a straight shot to the test port back there. So we've got our gauge. I expect, I think we should be seeing 50 to 60 pounds of fuel pressure. Go ahead and just give this thing a prime. It's been sitting for a little while, so the engine should be oh gosh, 23. See if that jumps up or does anything interesting while we're what happens if I crank? Yeah, it's maxing out at 30. Okay, something in the fuel tank is completely hosed. I feel two ways about that. First off, the smoking gun is awesome, and also $40 well spent on that fuel pressure tester. I'm very happy with that. Downside is Now I have to jack the back of the car up in the air and drop the stupid fuel tank out the bottom. I don't want to do that. I'm assuming it's up there. Guess I'll go buy a new sending unit. I think that's about $200. It's not really money I'd like to spend, but gotta do it. Hopefully I can get that done. That'll be a whole new sending unit, pretty much a full fuel system service at that point. So, dawn of day 3 of working on the PT Cruiser. 3 hours remain, and we have to drop this fuel tank, which looks like it just comes down with a couple of, oh, what are those? 16s, 15s maybe? There's 2 bands going under here. It's a lot like a truck. I guess they're trying to live up to their "it's a light truck" thing. What else we got under here? Twist beamer axle, a couple coil springs. The spring isolator on the bottom of this one is completely out of place. Oop, my hat. World's worst exhaust. I mean, it sounds good, but that is a pretty inelegant muffler delete. So let's get a socket and see what happens when I undo those bands. Particularly fun. So yeah, you'll need to drop the exhaust down so that you can get that band out of the way. You'll definitely want to siphon the fuel out of here beforehand. And as you can see, I haven't actually pulled it all the way out of the car. I just removed the wheel and swiveled it around because one of the evap lines is refusing to come off, and the big electrical connector that connects this to the whole rest of the car is attached to the car on the fuel tank side. So like, it comes apart, but the part that stays with the car is the part that needs to come with the fuel tank. I don't understand what's up with that. The fuel lines are this sort of deal. You push on the colored part and they come off. I'm putting these back on because this needs blown out with compressed air. This is about to get gross. My ears. Undo this ring and we can get the sending unit out. All right. Looks pretty similar to what's in there. So this is regulator, filter, and pump and sending unit all in one. Thank you, Chrysler, for whatever the heck this is. Okay. Get this in there. Already got the rubber ring there. Make sure it's oriented right. Now we'll work the gasket down in there first to make sure that it's seating properly. And then this kind of press fits in a little bit. And then the ring goes over it. I don't feel like turning off the heater to film this. I've procrastinated for 3 hours on putting the fuel tank back in here, so I guess let's get going. In another 3 hours! beast, y'all! That sounds nasty! $20 gas later, I have been, where's my key? There it is. I've been babying this around a little bit, getting it up to temperature. Got some gas. We've got some gas. Let's see what this thing is like. First off, there's definitely something wrong with the motor mount somewhere. The engine's running smooth, but I'm feeling every single combustion event. Oh! It does make boost. It makes a lot of noise before it gets there. Steering feels weird. Like, my alignment's fine, it just kind of pulls in weird directions. I wonder if it's something with the tires. Here we go. On ramp. These handle terribly. Oh my god. What a set of noises. There's a vacuum cleaner under the hood. It's amazing. Hey, this is a car now. We're doing car things. Wow. That exhaust is hilarious. This thing is like a big fat American Fiat 500 Abarth. These are not noises I've ever associated with a PT Cruiser of all things. This shifter still sucks. Someone paid $200 for this Hurst short shifter. $200 to ruin their car. Let's see, so if I'm at 2,500 RPM and I plant my foot, it boosts instantly. Pop pops. Oh, I love the turbo noises. I have not owned a turbo car in 5 years, I think. I had a 1.6 liter Miata that I added a turbocharger to myself. I'm not really entirely sure what my thesis is here, other than this thing is a surprising amount of fun, and I'm excited for much boosty noises to come. Thanks for watching.